Hey, Jared here, and let's talk about if you binged, if you lost control over Thanksgiving. Let's say it's Sunday or early next week, whenever you're watching this, a few days after Thanksgiving. Let's say Thanksgiving, you've lost control, you overate, and now you're getting back on track. In this video, I want to warn you and explain deeply, like we're going to go deep, why getting back on track sets you up for failure, sets you up to repeat the same pattern. Let's dive in. Getting back on track. What does that mean to you? For a lot of people, getting back on track, I know for me, it was always like exercising, thinking like what I was going to eat very precisely. That was my way. Other people cleanse, cut out, no carbs, detox, whatever. What does getting back on track mean to you? Let me just break the news. Getting back on track is restriction. It is dieting. Even though you might not be on an official Weight Watchers diet or whatever diet, just that act of plotting, thinking so much, what am I going to have? 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 That is restriction. So we have to be clear. This is restriction. This getting back on track where you're starting to plot, you're starting to think, you're starting to worry, that energy is negative energy. And karma is such that that negative energy is going to come back around and end up in a binge. Let's see how that negative energy from all that worry ends up coming around and making us binge later on. Because what I don't want you to do is do the same thing you always do after holidays, after get-togethers with friends, which is we're getting back on track, and then it just keeps on happening. I want that to stop for you, like today. Like watch this video and see if these truths resonate with your own experience. So you're plotting. You're getting back on track. The essence of getting back on track is control. You're controlling. You're getting food under control. You're in charge, not your body. You're in charge. You just binged, right? Now it's my turn to be in control. There's a internal tug of war. We'll get to the tug of war analogy in just a second. But negative energy, all this worry, what it does from a brain perspective, very important. Very, very important that we talk about the brain here. This negative energy makes physiological changes in your brain. It activates survival brain. It activates fight or flight brain. It activates whatever you want to call it, animal brain, primal brain, monkey mind, whatever you want to call it. All this negative thought, all this plotting. Okay, I'm do this. That worry and fear and stress constricts your mind, puts it into this different state. You can think of the brain as having a few different layers. The top layer is where you think, you have goals, you have language, you have self-control here more. What happens when your survival brain, that's your thinking brain is up here, your survival brain is down here, right? So all the blood from all the worry is going down. This does two things. One, your survival brain gets super charged up. It gets triggered or out of control. There's something. And then all the blood from up here goes down. So the animal brain is getting super, super in control. And at the same time, the thinking brain with self-restraint, with self-control, this is getting less blood. So we lose control while the animal brain gets supercharged. So it's like a big swing. This big swing ends up happening when you control. Yes, you can control for a while. No one starts out just binge eating like tons and tons of food right away. It's always a little battle at first. Little tug of war. I remember back in the day, high school, wrestling. Starved myself, basically. Measure at very precise portions. Binge after a tournament. And then, it wasn't a binge at first, though. It wasn't a binge at first. It would be like I had too many candy bars, like 5 or something, right? It'd be something small. I guess 5 could be a binge. Binge is an interesting word. 5 candy bars can be a binge for some people. For others, it'd be 50 candy bars. It's an interesting word. There's some element of losing control. Anyways, it became like I'd have five candy bars, right? And then be like, you know what? Okay, back at it the next day. Get back on track. Let's cut out those candy bars. Let's hone in on the chicken. Hone in. Oh, I fucking lost control again. All right, back. Lost control, back. Now I really lost control. Get it back. And it's this tug of war, coming back to that tug of war. Your higher brain and your survival mind are fighting. They're in conflict. You have to see this. If you want to heal your relationship with food, you have to see how getting back on track, this control, the energy behind the control is restrictive. It is cutting off. It is worrisome. It is fear-based. This fear triggers the survival mind, the emotional mind. It turns off the thinking mind. The survival brain is afraid. This is not thinking logically. This is not rational. But if you just keep on eating and 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 you just really can't stop, your survival mind is in charge right there. Your survival mind is in charge. And so this is where it's really difficult to not restrict, because that's what you're used to doing. For so long, you're used to restricting. After you binge, clamp down again. Control. Get back on track. Control. And this element of clamping down, of getting back on track, which is something you might be doing right now at the beginning of the week. I want you to do something different instead. And I will explain more of what I mean by different in a second video. I want to keep this one under 10 minutes, so I got a minute and a half to describe it. But the essence, the big mindset is keeping the binge an isolated incident. It means you have to stay in the present moment, connected to your body. Instead of clamping down, where you've already pre-planned out your meals, you already have everything mapped out. It's already determined. You're constantly thinking. It's connecting to your body, physically and emotionally, and making a present moment decision that is not rooted in the binge experience, meaning the binge happened. There might be this voice in your head. You always fuck up. You always binge. This other voice could be in there as well. Now you're gonna measure. Now you're gonna get back on track. Now you're gonna do this. Those voices, it's hard. It's very, very hard. That's why I work people with these voices. It's hard to not listen to these voices. One voice is saying you suck. One voice, and you believe it. The other voice is saying restrict, cut that out, be good again. Your job is you can hear those voices. That's a big part of mindfulness training, is to be able to hear those voices, but to not react to them and to make a present moment decision instead. So we'll come back to this mindset in the next video. I'll try to just do a 2-part little video series here. In the meantime, let me know if you have any questions, what's coming up for you. We'll call it at that. All right. So be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. And then also, if you're not on the email list already, there's a link down below where if you're just watching this on YouTube, you can sign up and I will email you. All right. Namaste.